Hey, second grade. Today we're going to review fractions from last week, and we're going to review it in two parts. The first is a warm-up with unequal and equal parts. The second is talking about fractional parts, so halves, thirds, fourths, and so on. So we're going to start with our warm-up, like I said. I'm going to hold up two options. Is this shape unequal? The pieces are not the same size. Or is it equal and the pieces are the same size? Now, when it's equal, we know it's a fractional part. If they're unequal, they don't count as fractional parts. So let's look at a shape to start, and I'll model this example. So I'll do this one. Here we go. Here's our first shape. Are the parts equal or unequal? They're equal. These two are halves. Two halves make a whole. Next one, your turn. Looking at a circle. Are the parts equal or unequal? Think about it like if this was a pizza. Is there a certain slice that has more than the rest, or are all the slices just the same? If you said equal, you're right. We have 8 equal parts. 8/8 make up this whole. It wouldn't matter which slice of pizza you got. They're all the same size. Next. What about this pizza? If you got one of these slices, would you be happier than if you got another slice? If you said that these are unequal, you're correct. Imagine getting this piece of pizza and your friend got this piece of pizza. This person definitely got more. These are unequal. They're not fractional parts. What about this? Think about this as if it was like a tray of brownies. Which brownie would you want? Are any of them bigger than the others? Or are they all the same size? It wouldn't matter. If you said equal, they're all the same size, you're right. Doesn't matter which size you get. Now, how many equal parts do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 fourths. 4 fourths make up 1 whole. These are equal. Last one. What about these slices of pizza? Would you want one over the other? I don't know. If you said these parts are unequal, you're on it. This part is smaller than this part. This is not a fraction. These are not in halves, right? These two halves don't work together because they're not equal or the same size parts. These are unequal. So now that we know that our fractional parts must be equal or the same size, let's review all of the parts that can make up our whole with our unit fractions chart. So a whole shape is the entirety of the shape. We have halves, 2 of the same size parts. Thirds, 3 of the same size parts. Fourths, 4 of the same size. Sixths, 6 of the same size. And eighths, 8 of the same size parts. In order to be a fraction, it has to have the same size parts, no matter if it's talking about halves or talking about fourths. Each of these pieces is the same size. Each of these pieces is the same size. So we're going to use our unit fractions to do a little bit of work today. I'm going to model some of the worksheets. Now remember, if you're at home without a printer and can't print out the worksheets yourself, that's okay. You can draw the same shapes and do the same work. It's just going to be a little bit more of hand drawing. So try it out, and I'm going to model on the actual sheets for you. So remember this chart? Here we go. All right. We're going to talk about representing fractions in our first sheet, the one that looks like this. The directions say, color in each shape to represent the given fraction for the shape. So let's look at the first one. It says 1/2. So we know how many halves make up a whole. 2. 2 halves make up a whole. Right? If I had a circle, 2 halves. The circle has the same size parts. They want us to color in 1/2, just one. So I'm going to choose a color. I've just grabbed purple, and I'm going to color in 1/2. All right. 1/2 is shaded. Fabulous. Let's look at one more, and then you're going to do the rest on your own. Let's look at this one. 4/6. Well, there's 6 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 pieces. How many do they want us to color in? 4. 4/6. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to color in 4 out of the 6. And let's see what that looks like. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. Here we go. 4 of the 6 boxes, or 4 of the fractional parts, are now colored in. 4 out of 6. Just like when we were talking about 1/2, it's 1 of 2 parts is colored in. 1/2 and 4/6. So this is kind of like really stepping up our fraction work from last week. So I want you to go on and keep trying these out. They're all different. Pay attention to how many total parts, the second word, and how many they want you to color in, the first word. So 2/4. 2 of the 4 they want you to color in. All right, so that's step 1. You guys got that. Keep going. The second one is a little bit of a word problem challenge about sharing cookies. So I've been referring to these fractions as food for much of our talking, because obviously who doesn't love pizza and all the things we've been discussing. So this one's called sharing cookies. It says this: Sarah shared her chocolate chip cookie with her friend. Sarah had 1/4. 1/4 is the same as 1/4 of the cookie. And her friend had 3/4 of the cookie. Who had the most amount of cookie? Use the squares below to help you. So if this is Sarah's cookie and this is her friend's cookie, we know that Sarah had 1/4, so only 1 of the 4 squares, and her friend had 3/4, 3 of the 4 squares. Who ate more of their cookie? I'll leave you guys to decide. And the last thing you're going to do is you're going to divide the shapes into your own fractional parts based on the directions that it tells you. So the last one looks like this: dividing circles and squares. Kind of like those pieces that I was showing you earlier, right? Dividing them up yourself. So in dividing circles and squares, you're going to divide the whole. Each of these shapes represents one whole based on the directions they give you. So let's start out with this one. I'll model this one for you, the 2/4. 2/4 is the same as 2/4. So quarters and fourths people use interchangeably, meaning they mean the same thing. So we need to break it into how many parts? 4. Quarters means fourths. 2/4. So we must break our shape into fourths. I'm going to underline that word, quarters, to know that I need to break that into fourths. So what is a way that we can divide a square into fourths? I want you to think about that. How might you do it? How could you divide your square into fourths? I remember seeing at the beginning a square that looked like this. Are these fourths? Definitely. Making an X across will work. It would also work if you wanted to do it in a variety of other ways. So maybe just one vertical and one horizontal line. I'm going to do the X because that's the one that we modeled before. So you got to be really careful when you're drawing your line. So across, there's 1, and across, there's 2. I don't have a pencil, but I recommend doing it in pencil first in case your lines don't come out the way you want. So now that we have 4 fractional parts, we have our whole divided into fourths or quarters, we need to shade in how many of them? Well, think back to our first worksheet. where does it tell us how many we need to divide it into? The first word, 2/4. So I'm going to shade in 2/4. All right, and it'll look like this. 2 of the 4 are shaded in. Now, a tip for how you can make sure that the rest of this goes smoothly is underline that second word in each of the examples. So 1/2, I'm gonna underline the word half because they want us to break the circle into halves, 2 equal parts. 6/8, I'm gonna underline eighths. How many parts do they want us to break that shape into? If I'm underlining eighths, 6/8. 8, right? They want us to break that shape into 8 equal parts. That one, I want you to think back to the original pizza pie. The last one says 5/6. Which word will I underline? 6ths. If something is broken into 6ths, how many equal parts will it have? 6. 5/6. And then you'll color in the first word, 5 of the 6. So, off you go to try your best at these fractional part reviews. I can't wait to see what you do. You can post your Padlet if you want to share your work with your teacher or email them. And we'll have more fun fraction work tomorrow. So stay tuned. You've got this, and we'll talk soon.